Are you easily distracted? Do you find it difficult to focus on the task at hand because your mind keeps wandering? Do you worry too much or have too many things to do that you can't sit down and concentrate on one thing? We all struggle to maintain focus in our daily lives. Endless distractions keep our brains from concentrating as we struggle to get things done at work and complete projects around the house. But remember, with pure focus, we can be unstoppable. You can get more done in a day than most get done in a week if you just learn how to stay on a task for long periods of time. Simply put, learning how to focus every day is a must. Why? When you lose yourself in that task, you become so immersed into the work that your happiness increases, stress goes down, and work improves. You become a better student or employee as well as a more organized person overall. There is no one way to find focus, but what works for most people is to create a distraction-free space. So tip number 1, remove distractions. Here, before you can add, you will need to subtract. There's never been another time in history when there was so much to be distracted by. Our technology reinforces the feeling that you're missing out on something if you don't check your Facebook feed every 15 minutes or reply to that email the first second you get it. Just because someone decides to email or call you doesn't mean it's more important than the project you should be working on. All other things can wait. But if you know they are waiting there, you'll be tempted to check on them, and you should avoid temptation at all costs because your mind won't be able to focus on the task otherwise. So close and remove everything that is not needed for the task at hand. That means everything on your computer that isn't absolutely necessary. If you don't need the internet to do something, close it. Close email, all notifications and reminders, all programs not needed for your task. If you need your browser open, close all tabs or bookmark them. You can always open those sites when you're done. Your phone can also wait until you finish your work. So pinpoint what breaks your concentration and remove it. Is it loud coworkers? Your smartphone? Make sure to subtract whatever is distracting you from immersing yourself on the task at hand. Tip number 2. Meditate and read. If you are completely relaxed and stress-free, then your mind will also work more efficiently. Meditating is not only a great way to wind down, but if you meditate for just 10 to 20 minutes every day, you will slowly improve your overall concentration. A study has shown that intensive meditation can help people focus their attention and sustain it even during the most boring of tasks. You can easily transfer these meditation skills to focusing on the work ahead of you. As I said in my previous video, why you should read more, reading is a great way to build up your focus. To read a book, you need to actually sit down and read word for word, if you want to understand what you're reading, that is. Being able to concentrate on the material in front of you, whether you're reading a romance novel or a biography, will help you learn how to focus on your work. If your mind wanders when you read larger amounts of text, that's a good indicator that you need to bring up your focus. Tip number 3. Slowly build up your focus stamina. Each person may start off with a certain amount of focus, but rest assured that this is something that can be improved over time. To build your focus stamina, just give yourself a certain amount of time, say 5 minutes, to do nothing but work on a certain task. When that time passes, see how long you can keep going before actually stopping, whether it's just another 5 minutes or another half hour. Keep going until you feel you need to stop and try to focus for longer next time. If you can't focus for even 5 minutes, start even smaller. You only need to focus for 1 minute at first. Clear everything away, pick your one important task and just do it for 1 minute without switching. This is hard to do in the beginning, but if you consciously focus on focusing, it shouldn't be a problem. It's just a minute after all. But next time, make it 2 minutes. You can do multiple focus sessions a day, but remember to keep taking these baby steps. When you get to 10 minutes, take a 2-minute break. When you get to 20 minutes, take a 3-minute break. At 30 minutes of focus, you've earned a 5-minute break. And once you can focus for 30 minutes without stopping, you can stay there. No need to burn yourself out. Thanks for watching. Make sure to apply these tips and your focus will be better than yesterday. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. A lucid dream is any dream during sleep in which you become aware that you're dreaming, which means you're able to control yourself and your surroundings freely. When you're conscious during your dreams, you're only restricted by your ability to imagine and conceive, not by laws of physics. So what you can do in your lucid dreams is limitless. Flying, having dream sex, time traveling, all that and more is possible. Now, who wouldn't want to do that from the comfort of their bed? Lucid dreams usually occur while a person is in the middle of a normal dream and suddenly realizes that they are dreaming. This is the most common way people become lucid. It's called a dream-initiated lucid dream. Basically, you become lucid while in a dream, adding awareness to dreaming. There's also a wake-initiated lucid dream, which occurs when you go from a normal waking state directly into a dream state. In other words, you're adding dreaming to awareness. So before we go to the technique, you will need some preparation first before you can become lucid. It's extremely helpful to start a dream journal. Keep it close by your bed at night and write down your dreams immediately after waking up. Write down as much details as you can remember. This will train you to remember more of your dreams. After all, there's not much point in controlling your dreams if you forget the experience before the morning. It will also help you recognize dream signs, such as recurring situations, which will make you realize that you're dreaming. If you never dream your dreams, don't worry. We all dream, but not everybody has a good dream recall. If you don't remember anything, just write down, "I didn't remember any dreams tonight," in your journal. This will train your mind to expect to remember dreams. Another thing to do is to perform reality checks frequently. Every few hours during the day, ask yourself, "Am I dreaming?" With enough practice, you'll start following the habit in your dreams as well, cluing you into the fact that you're dreaming. Also perform another of the following reality checks. Simply look at your hands, read a page of text or time on clock, look away, then look back again. In dreams, these things are blurry and will be different each time you look. This will tip you off that you're in a dream state. It's really important to do these reality checks when you're awake and not just in a dream, because heightened awareness during practice helps you gain awareness in a regular dream. So establish these habits to make your lucid dream practice easier. There are a number of techniques that help induce lucidity, but the one I recommend to beginners and also the one I use to achieve immediate results is the wake back to bed. Basically, you wake up in the middle of the night and go back to bed. When you fall asleep, you pass through different sleep cycles, and the one in which dreaming occurs is called the REM cycle. This technique works because you stimulate your conscious brain at a time you would normally be experiencing REM sleep. In REM, or rapid eye movement sleep, the mind is closer to wakefulness than in deep sleep, so the possibility to realize you're dreaming is much greater. You have multiple REM periods overnight, but around 6 hours after falling asleep is when the longest one should start. So the technique goes like this. Set your alarm clock, go to bed as normal, and allow yourself to sleep for 6 hours. Note, if you only normally sleep for 6 hours, reduce your sleep time even more, say to 4 hours. After 6 hours, get out of bed and wake yourself up. The idea is to temporarily delay your regular REM sleep. You should stay awake for about 20 minutes and get out of your bed for this. You can read about lucid dreaming if you want to stay focused on the subject, or set your intent on what you want to dream in advance. For example, if you want to fly in your dream, visualize flying. Now go back to bed, relax and slowly drift into the dream world. If all goes well, you will dive straight into REM sleep from a conscious state and become lucid. Simple, isn't it? If your mind is too alert and you can't fall asleep, practice meditation or perform mnemonic induction of lucid dreams. In short, mild is telling yourself as you're ready to sleep that you're going to become lucid to the point you believe it, and then visualizing yourself in a dream. Do this until you fall asleep. Once you've flown all over the world, try to explore memory and performance. Some people think of new ideas in their dreams, some practice their speeches. So if people knew how hard I had to work to gain my mastery, it would not seem so wonderful at all. Michelangelo. The talent myth is built on the idea that innate ability rather than practice is what ultimately determines whether we have it within us to achieve excellence. This is a corrosive idea, robbing individuals of the incentive to transform themselves through effort. Why spend time and energy seeking to improve if success is only available to people with the right genes? This is the question general public ask themselves. So, what is talent? Many people feel sure they know it when they see it. As the managing director of prestigious violin school put it, talent is something a top violin coach can spot in young musicians that marks them out as destined for greatness. But how does the teacher know that this accomplished young performer who looks so gifted has not had many hours of special training behind the scenes? As studies have shown, he doesn't know, and most of the time special training by their parents seems to be the case for their gift. An investigation of British musicians found that the top performers had learned no faster than those who reached lower levels of attainment. For hour by hour, the various groups had improved at almost identical rates. The difference was simply that the top performers had practiced for more hours. Let me say that again. The top performers had practiced for more hours. In 1991, Anders Ericsson, a psychologist at Florida State University, conducted the most extensive investigation ever undertaken into the cause of outstanding performance. He was looking for talent. The funny thing is, he couldn't find any. His subjects, violinists at the renowned Musical Academy of West Berlin in Germany, were divided into 3 groups. The first group comprised the outstanding students, the boys and girls expected to become international soloists, the pinnacle of musical performance. These were the kids who would normally be described as super talented, the youngsters supposedly lucky enough to have been born with special musical genes. The second group of students were extremely good, but not as accomplished as the top performers. These were expected to end up playing in the world's top orchestras, but not as star soloists. In the final group were the least able students, teenagers studying to become music teachers, a course with far less admission standards. The ability levels of the 3 groups were based on the assessment of the professors and by objective measures, such as success in open competitions. After a painstaking set of interviews, Ericsson found that the biographical histories of the 3 groups were remarkably similar and showed no systematic differences. But there was one difference between the groups that was both dramatic and unexpected: the number of hours devoted to serious practice. By the age of 20, the best violinist had practiced an average of 10,000 hours, over 2,000 hours more than the good violinists, and 6,000 hours more than the violinists trying to become musical teachers. These differences are not just statistically significant, they are extraordinary. Top performers had devoted thousands of additional hours to the task of becoming master performers. But that's not all. Ericsson also found that there were no exceptions to this pattern. There was nobody who had reached the elite group without copious practice, and nobody who had worked their socks off had failed to excel. Purposeful practice was the only factor distinguishing the best from the rest. Ericsson and his colleagues were astounded by these findings, that it is practice and not talent that ultimately matters. The differences between expert performers and normal adults reflect a lifelong persistence of deliberate effort to improve performance. So the question is, how long do you need to practice in order to achieve excellence? Extensive research has come up with a very specific answer to that question. From art to science, and from board games to tennis, it has been found that a minimum of 10 years and 10,000 hours is required to reach world-class status in any complex task. In chess, for example, nobody had attained the level of international grandmaster with less than a decade's intense preparation with the game. An analysis of top 9 golfers of the 20th century showed that they won their first international competition at around 25 years of age, around 10 years after they started golfing. The same finding has been discovered in fields as diverse as mathematics, swimming, and long-distance running. This holds true even in academia. In a study of 120 most important scientists and 120 most famous poets and authors of 19th century, it was found that 10 years elapsed between their first work and their best work. 10 years and 10,000 hours are the magic number for attainment of excellence. But is the time we put in all there is to it? Short answer, no. Think on how most of us go about our lives. When we learn a new task like driving a car, we concentrate hard to master the skills necessary. At first we are slow and awkward, and our movements are characterized by conscious control. But as we get more familiar, the skills are absorbed in implicit memory and we no longer give much thought to them. What happens is we become content with our current skills and stop with the conscious attention. We cruise along, attending to other things at the wheel. Basically, we are on autopilot and we're not improving. That's why we don't necessarily become better drivers as years go by. It's the same way with our jobs. We do it with our minds absent and just go through the motions. This is why the length of time in many occupations is only weakly related to performance. Mere experience, if it's not matched by deep concentration, does not translate into excellence. In many jobs and sports, it is possible to clock up endless hours without improving at all. Take me, for example. I play basketball every Friday with friends. It's fun and sociable, but it has nothing to do with the kind of practice undertaken by aspiring NBA players. I have not improved in basketball in 3 years. Why? Because I have been cruising along on autopilot. I'm not working on my free throws. I'm not trying to improve my aim. I don't check my stance before I try to hit the hoop. I'm just having fun. This shows us that not all practice is equal. When most people practice, they focus on the things they can do effortlessly. Expert practice is different. It consists of considerable and sustained efforts to do something you can't do well. Research across domains shows that it is only by working at what you can't do you turn into the expert you want to become. This is called deliberate practice. So the hours we put in are meaningless if we are not trying to improve on our weak spots. World-class performance comes by striving for a target just out of reach and not quite making it. It is about grappling with tasks beyond current limitations and falling short again and again. The paradox of excellence is that it is built upon the foundations of necessary failure. Now, to summarize. We are not born talented. We become better at a certain skill by practicing it. It's not like you have some special gene that makes you a god at playing the guitar, but you don't know that because you never played it before. There are no world-class performers that became world-class without practice. The violinists didn't just pick up a violin and started playing complex symphonies. They had to learn step by step. This is the iceberg illusion. We only see the fruits of labor, but not the hours someone put in to achieve their excellence. Now that you know that the world-class performance comes from the thousands of hours of deliberate practice, you just may one day become one of these so-called talented people. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you believe in talent or practice in the comments below.